Hi, y'all. Okay, so I'm back and I'm about to do a review, a brief little summary review. Not summary, but a review on one of Miss Beverly Jenkins' books. Now, if you're not familiar with Miss Beverly Jenkins, she is a brilliant writer. She is an awesome storyteller and a phenomenal teacher. You will be refreshed on things you already knew if you're into history, and you will learn something new. She does an awesome job of tying in real life events into her stories. And to me, that takes a brilliant mind. Not just anybody can do that. She's great, y'all. Check her out. You will not be disappointed. If you are a lover of romance, you will love her. If you love history, you will appreciate it and you will fall in love. And if you're a lover of both, what you waiting on? Go get a book of Miss Jenkins and read it. Any of her books can be read as standalones. She will kind of, if it's a book that belongs in a series, you'll get like a refresher a little bit, not too much. I know some authors, they kind of overdo it with letting you know what happened in a previous story. Miss Jenkins gives you just enough to you want to say, oh, I want to read that story. But anyway, I love Miss Jenkins, so let me get into this review. Let me say that I give this story 5 stars. I have read this story at least 3-4 times. It's a cute story to me. It is not that long though. I don't know why when I look it's showing like it has, well, it's saying it has 360 something pages. Yeah, 369 pages, 370, yeah, 369 pages. And on that's in this paperback, but on my e-reader, and I guess because you can fit more words, it's showing 221 because I already had a copy of this book, which is called Destiny's Embrace. If I haven't said so already, I have it in the electronic read as well as paperback. Now, it was one of the books that I just recently purchased in paperback because if it disappears over here, I want to be able to have it. So I already did a little video on that. So yeah. Anyway, it didn't seem that long. So I could read this in a day, just if I sit down and just, But let me get started on the review. The book is about a woman named Mariah Cooper and a man named Logan Yates. Mariah has had a hard upbringing. She has had to be reared by a woman who is just nasty and hateful towards her biological mother. Her mother is one of those types of parents, and I say parents because men and women do this. Men who are raising their children, whether it's single or not, and women do it too. Her mother is one of those parents who has treated her according to how she feels about Mariah's dad. Mariah's never met her dad, but Mariah's dad, they give you a bit of the story. Her aunt is actually the one that ends up explaining to her the situation. Mariah grew up thinking that her dad died at sea. And she never understood why her mom was just so hateful towards her, why her mom hated her so much that her mother would just strike her, just because she forgot to do something or because something went wrong with a dress, because her mother's supposed to be a seamstress. And Mariah has grown up working in her mother's seamstress shop to the point where she has a talent for sketching. So she would sketch designs, and now as an adult woman, her mother would use her designs and sell her clothing, sell the dresses that Mariah makes for a pretty penny and give Mariah pennies, okay? And so Mariah is truly supposed to be talented. She's supposed to have this unique eye color. And a lot of people didn't understand that. They gave her when she was a little girl, the kids gave her like a nickname teasing her. But she's supposed to be petite and beautiful, And so anyway, her mother hasn't been so nice to her. She's been very evil and nasty to her. Her mother owns a dress shop. The dress shop is downstairs and they live above it. And her mother would allow women to sit in her shop, in her business, and talk about her daughter. There's actually a scene where this is happening, and I believe it is the mother of a young man whom Mariah kind of fancies, and they're like seeing each other a little bit, but he doesn't have a backbone, honey, so it's never going to work anyway, when a man don't have a backbone, to stand up to his mom. But anyway, I would never sit, let alone behind my back and I get word of it, but to sit and allow somebody to talk about my child and in my place of business, my house, oh no, it ain't happening, not me. But anyway, her mother has done this time and time again, and Mariah is used to it. She's as an adult woman, I believe what I took from it, one scene is she's waiting to see if her mother's going to actually finally say something, and she doesn't. In fact, she gets mad at Mariah because you embarrassing me is how she feels, and how dare you. So she's grown up with this nasty mother, this evil person raising her, this bitter woman raising her. And Mariah finds out that her best friend is getting married. Her friend whom you meet, you get an introduction of their meet in the first chapter when they're supposed to be little girls. Just that chapter only is like a scene from something from when they were kids. And this is how she met her best friend. Which her best friend, like I said, was her saving grace, because her mother at times would allow her to go and spend the night with her. And that was like the most of an outlet that she had. So she finds out that her homegirl, her best friend, is getting married, and she's happy. This is her friend, it's her girl, she's happy. She tells her, I'm going to make your dress. I've envisioned this, I'm going to make your dress. Her mother overhears her, and her mother says, no, why would you tell her that? You're not doing that. Not for free. Because she tells her friend, I'm making your dress as my gift, So her mother tells her friend, we will come up with a fair price and I'll let you and your mom know. So, go home. That's that. So the friend does, and Mariah tells her mom, I want to make her dress. She says, no, you're not making her dress for free. She said, well, okay, I'll pay for it. I'll pay you for it. Who got to do that, But her mother still insists on no, so they kind of have it out, and Mariah stands up to her mother, and I believe her mother strikes her, which is physical abuse, and she puts her out, or Mariah leaves, and she goes to her aunt's house. Now, her mother and her aunt haven't spoken in years because her aunt is the one who introduced her mother to her father. Her aunt has married, she's not currently married, I think her husband's supposed to be deceased, but her aunt married a man who left her a little money, so she has a nice house and everything, and she tells Mariah, you're welcome to stay here. I'm going to go get your things. Mariah's like, she's not going to let you get them. She said, listen, I'm her big sister. She goes and gets Mariah's things, and she comes back, and she's telling Mariah about what happened. And she tells Mariah, here, look in the newspaper. We can find you a job. So there's an ad because Mariah would save money. I believe she was trying to get her own shop or something. But there's an ad for a housekeeper. Mariah figures, I can do that. Her aunt said, because her aunt points it out to her, like, you can travel, get away from here. It's in California. She's supposed to live in Philadelphia, And Philadelphia has a different type of society than, out west. But she's ready for it. She wants to get far away. She's scared, but she wants to get far away. She wants to become this new person. So her aunt says, okay, we're going to answer the ad and we'll say you're a widow because it's calling for a live-in housekeeper. And they figured that would increase her chances, or I think the ad called for that. So in comes Logan Yates. Logan is a man who, he lost his mother I believe during childbirth, so he never knew her, or either when he was very young. So all he had was his father. And he has his stepmom. Her name is Alonza. She's supposed to be Spanish and Mexican or something. She comes from wealth, money. Her family had a little money and wealth. They had acres of land in this beautiful big house, and his dad had his own land with his house, but they've merged everything now because his dad is supposed to be deceased now. They give a backstory. Miss Jenkins, I'm sorry, gives you a backstory on Alonza and Logan's dad. Logan's dad, like I said, in his adult years, he's now deceased. I want to say he passed away, if I'm remembering right, when Logan was 16. So Alonza married Logan's dad when Logan was 10 and she was 16. So they've grown together. Even though they have just a short age difference between them, she's been a nurturer and a mother to him. She's embraced him like her own biological son, which she does end up having two sons from his dad. His brother Andrew, who's an attorney, you get his story, and his brother Noah, who is a man of the sea. He's a captain of his own ship. He's a sea merchant. Again, anyway, Alonza loves Logan and adores him like her own son, and he respects and loves her in return. So a year prior to the book really getting in, Logan's bunkhouse is supposed to have burned down. And so his men, because he has a business partner, his best friend, and he has men that, work for him because he's supposed to be he has a ranch. He's a rancher. He has his own cattle. And he buys and sells and stuff like that. So they because the bunkhouse burned down, they've been using his actual house that he lives in as a place to store their boots, their gear, all their stuff. So it's supposed to be stinky. And then when him and his men would come back from like trips of rounding up the cattle, they'd get drunk and drink. And, in that time, men for sport, they would shoot, just shoot. So there's supposed to be buckshots in the cabinets. The house is a mess, okay? So his stepmom comes to visit him one evening, and she's like, oh my God, it stinks in here. She's going off in Spanish because she's taught him Spanish too, so he understands what she's saying. And she's like, you need to clean this up, Logan. I want grandbabies one day. I want you to have a wife. I want you to be happy. And he's like, I'm not worried about a wife. She said, you need to at least clean this up. Nobody's going to want to come in here like this. If I had half the sense, I'd take a match to it, So he's like, well, if you want me to have a housekeeper so bad, you hire one. So she does. So that's when Mariah comes into play. Now, Mariah takes the trip. Alonza sends her a train ticket, and she makes the journey. And you get a cute tale of Queen Calafia. I hope I'm saying that right. Mariah meets an interesting woman, and this woman gives her this story on Queen Calafia, and it's cute. It's a mythical story. And you get some history in that journey that I appreciate. So when she gets to California, and he's supposed to live like right outside of San Francisco, so it's a few miles journey from the train station to his ranch. So when she steps off of the train and she's excited to start anew, now she can be strong Mariah, and she has on a nice traveling suit that she made, a matching hat, gloves, looking cute. And he sees this woman with this unique eye color in this suit. He thinks she's too fancy. He's like, no, she ain't gonna make it. And I believe he tells her that on their journey from the train station to his ranch. And she can tell he's standoffish in the way he's acting. So she's determined to prove him wrong. And wrong she proves him, because he doesn't know. He's judging her based off of how she looks. And you shouldn't do what? Right, judge a book by its cover. He doesn't know her history. He doesn't know that she's literally scrubbed floors and done laundry and been sent to bed without food, and she has calluses on her hands. He doesn't know any of this, okay? So there's when they first get there, she's like, I want to get started. He tells her, no, you can wait till tomorrow. I want to say she got started then, if I remember right. Don't get mad if I'm saying it out of place, y'all. So he tells her, no, just go take a nap or do something, rest up. You've had a long trip. She's like, no, I want to get started. So he goes to talk to his friend and his workers, and he's telling them she's not going to make it. I'm going to be taking her back to the train station tomorrow and blah, 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 blah. And they're like, did you tell her this? And he's like, yeah. And they're like, well, look. So she's over there. Mariah is throwing stuff out, honey, trying to clear out the floor because you can't even see the floor. And she's yelling, if any of this stuff belongs to y'all, men, and you want it, you better come get it. I'm going to burn it. And he goes running over there, and they have words, and he picks her up and he kisses her. And actually, she hurts herself or something, and he's looking at it, and he kisses her because they have words. And he lifts her up because she's supposed to be so small. And she don't take too kindly to that. The men are like looking. So when he puts her down on the ground, honey, she hauls back and kicks him in his bad leg. And what does she do that for, honey? He leaves immediately because he was supposed to rebuild this bunkhouse a long time ago. So he leaves to go talk to the man about the wood to make the bunkhouse. And when his stepmother, she comes because she was doing something, so she couldn't meet Mariah right away. She comes inside and she can see the floor. She's like, oh my God. And so Mariah's trying to clean up as much as she can because she figures, I want to earn my keep for today and earn they have no planes, earn my train ticket, because I know they're about to send me back and I'll have to, call my aunt in the morning and have her, not call her because they have telephones, but, send a telegram so she can, send me a train ticket. That's what she's thinking, and she's going to have to leave. So she tells Alonzo, and Alonzo's looking like, girl, don't worry about it. You okay. Like, she's thinking he has finally met his match. He finally met somebody with that spark, And so she tells him, I know my son. Don't worry about it. You good. And so she is. And along the way, not then, but along the way, Alonzo does little things like she makes this comment to Mariah, I think during dinner, because she invites her to come have dinner. And she tells her how the men will be calling on her. Like, you're a single woman now. They're going to be calling on you. And they do. But initially, Logan wasn't concerned. He wasn't bothered by that because he knew the men that were calling on her weren't men she would be interested in, until one man, the pastor, he does call on Mariah. And honey, Logan realizes then, wait a minute, I got to get myself together. I got to get my game up, because he's attracted to her. And it just goes from there. And I'm going to stop right there because I don't want to give too much away. Because like I told y'all before, I could tell the story. But I'm going to leave it at that. If you're interested, it's a cute story. Again, the paperback says it has like 270 pages. 369 pages. But the electronic read, of course, because it's bigger and more words can fit on the page, it shows that it has 221. So, yeah. I think it's pretty short, though. I don't know. But I would give this, like I said, 5 stars. I enjoyed it. It's a cute story. It's a great introduction to the Destiny series. And I liked it. It was a good book. And the second one in this was something different for me. Because it took me a minute before I allowed myself to read it. And I'll get into that in that review. But The third one I have not read yet, I will be honest, which is Noah's story. I tried to read it, but I just think it was the timing for me. Like I've told you before in another review, sometimes when you try to read a book, it's not the book, it's not the author, it's you. It may be something you're going through at that time where the chemistry is off for you in that story. Because I've had books that I've purchased based off the synopsis. I said, oh, I want to read this, and I purchased it, and I try to read it, and it's just not clicking for me. And then 2 years later, yes, that has happened to me. 2 years later, picked it up, start reading the book, and boom, I'm like, oh my God, I was sleeping on this, but it just wasn't the time. I have learned something from every book that I read. So I think and I believe in timing. Sometimes you can read something and it seems like it's right on time. And that's what I truly believe. So I'm going to try reading Noah's story. I loved Captured. Captured is a story that Miss Jenkins did, and it takes place on the sea. And I love that with Dominic Levesque. Yeah, Dominic Levesque. And her name is it Phaedra? I think so. But anyway, that's another one that I've read a few times, but I'm going to reread that one. And I think me rereading that and then reading Noah's story will kind of help. But anyway, like I said, do yourself a favor and pick up a book by Miss Beverly Jenkins. You will not be disappointed. She is the bomb. Yes, I had to throw that 90s term in there because I'm a 90s girl. She is the bomb writer. Check her out. This is Miss Beverly Jenkins, Destiny's Embrace. But check out any book from her. What you waiting on? I'll talk to y'all on the other side of this. Bye. And don't forget, reading frees the mind and it settles the spirit and the soul. Bye, y'all.